All right, today we're going to map out the entire life cycle of data. We're going to follow its journey from just a raw piece of information all the way to a powerful insight that could literally shape a business. Let's dive in.
Have you ever really stopped to wonder how a simple tap on your phone can end up informing a huge business decision? Or how it powers that freakishly accurate recommendation you just got? How does that actually happen? Well, that is the exact journey we're going to follow today. And here it is. This is our map. We're going to break down the entire modern data system into these 6 core stages. This is the path data travels, and by the end of this, you'll see exactly how each piece connects to create some serious value.
So our first stop is right at the beginning. Every single data journey has to start somewhere, at a source. And the very first job of any data engineer is to figure out, okay, how do we capture this data reliably, right where it's born?
And let me tell you, data is born everywhere these days. It could be transaction records from a good old database, all your customer info from an app like Shopify, or even location pings from a GPS tracker on a delivery truck. It could even be something as simple as the raw application logs that track every single click. The variety is just immense, and it's all out there, waiting to be collected.
So once we have all this data from all these places, how do we actually move it? Well, we need to get it onto what you can think of as the data superhighways. The stage, which we call ingestion, is all about building the pipelines that transport data from where it started to where it needs to go.
And what's really cool is that there are 2 main ways for data to travel on these highways. First, you've got batch processing. Think of this like a giant cargo ship, moving huge amounts of historical data, but only on a set schedule, say once a day. Then you have streaming. This is more like a fleet of super-fast courier bikes, delivering tiny data packets the instant they're created, which is what gives you those real-time insights. And this streaming approach, it is an absolute game changer. It's literally what allows your bank to detect fraud the second a suspicious transaction happens. It's how an e-commerce site can offer you dynamic pricing based on what's happening on the site right now, and it's what powers those live dashboards that show you exactly what's happening in a business second by second. Okay, so our data's been collected, it's been transported, now it needs a place to rest and get organized. This is the storage stage. And look, it's not just about dumping data somewhere, it's about storing it smartly and efficiently for whatever comes next.
And how you physically store that data, it matters a lot. Sure, you could use a simple row-based format like a CSV, basically a spreadsheet. But in modern data engineering, columnar formats like Parquet are king. Parquet it's built for analytics. By storing data in columns instead of rows, when you run a query, you only read the specific columns you need. It ignores everything else, which makes it way faster and way more space efficient.
And when it comes to databases, one size definitely does not fit all. Look at all these options. Depending on what you're doing, you might need a traditional SQL database for perfectly structured data, like financial records. Or maybe you need a super flexible document database for things like user profiles. The crucial takeaway here is simple. You have to choose the right tool for the job.
And now for the magic. We've got all this raw data just sitting there in storage, but honestly, in its current state, it's not very useful. The processing stage is where the real makeover happens. This is where we clean it, transform it, and enrich it to turn it into valuable, trustworthy information. And just like ingestion, processing can happen in 2 speeds. You might use a powerhouse like Apache Spark to crunch a massive amount of data and generate an end-of-day sales report. Or you could use a stream processing tool like Apache Flink to analyze transactions as they happen and trigger a fraud alert in under 2 seconds. It's all about choosing the right speed for the decision you need to make.
We made it to the final leg of the journey. All our data is now clean, processed, and ready for action. The serving and analytics layers are where all this hard work pays off. It's where this valuable info gets into the hands of the people, applications, and models that are going to use it to make a real impact.
And there are so many potential destinations for this prepared data. It could land in a massive data warehouse like Snowflake, where analysts can query it to spot trends. It could be served up through an API so other applications can use it. Or it could be organized in something called a feature store, which is kind of like a curated library of data perfectly prepped and ready to train machine learning models.
And this, right here, this is the ultimate payoff. This is the why. This is what all that work actually fuels. From the business dashboards your CEO looks at every morning to the machine learning models that power those recommendation engines, all the way to the next generation of AI apps. This is why the journey matters so much.
So let's take one last look at our map. We went from countless sources through ingestion pipelines, into organized storage, through transformative processing, and finally served up to power analytics, AI, and business apps. And there you have it. That is the complete journey of data in a modern system.
And if you take just one thing away from this whole explainer, let it be this idea. A great data engineer isn't just a programmer, they're an architect. They design the systems that allow information to flow seamlessly and reliably across an entire organization, unlocking value at every single step.
So, the next time you click a button or see a recommendation, you'll know the incredible, complex journey that made it possible. Which really just leaves one question for you to think about. What journey will your data take?